Drum roll! NFL season is finally upon us. It's time for the ref show. Kicking is for losers. Wait, this is the wrong show. This is Bet On It. I am Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas on Twitter. And Joe Raineri at Joe Raineri on Twitter, even though I think he's still shadow banned, even with a blue check mark. Got to look into that one. All right, guys, NFL Week 1. We got through the preseason unscathed. We've got all of our AFC and NFC previews up on the Wager Talk YouTube channel if you have not checked those out for all of our futures bets. But we're going to get into it. We got 3 primetime games here first, and this one has already been on the move. Travis Kelce hyperextends his knee in practice, and all hell breaks loose on the Wager Talk odds screen. Detroit at Kansas City, pretty much 4.5 across the board. Offshore, 1-4, 52.5, and 153 with our friends at South Point. Marco D'Angelo, I'm going to you first. If you snooze, you lose. Is it too late to take the Detroit Lions?
Well, obviously the latest line move has to do with Kelce, but this is a spot that, all summer long, I mean, next to the Jets, what team has gotten the most hype? Well, it's the Lions. And, I know Johnny Detroit, lifelong Detroit Lion fans. Are they going to pull that football out from under them again? He loves that cartoon Charlie Brown with that meme. But this is a team, the MO last year, they could score a lot of points. The problem was they couldn't stop anybody. They gave up a lot of points. So the playbook was take the Lions when they were getting points and stay away from them if they're laying points. Well, here they come in as a dog in this one. But you know what? There's been so much love for the Lions, and because of the injury, moving the line even more, this is starting to scare me a little bit to getting into that old public dog when everybody jumps on the same one. I lean to Detroit. I don't know that I'm going to get to the window. I think the value has been, taken out of this one. As long as you got Mahomes still behind center, it's tough to go against Kansas City, but this is a bad matchup. The Lions are going to be able to score points in this one. Small lean for me. I'm going to go ahead, take them. I think it comes down to a field goal either way. And with Mahomes, as I said, I think he finds a way to get it done. I'm calling it 27-24 Kansas City. So that tells me a little lean to the Lions. But as I said, I'm not sure I'm going to actually get to the window on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think we're a little too late to take the Lions. Joe Raineri, for my fantasy team, God, I hate fantasy. This is my problem with fantasy, in fact. We're going to go on a Kelly in Vegas rant week 1 before we even get to the second primetime game. This is why I hate it, because here I am going, wait a minute, I like Minnesota to win the division, and now I have to cheer for all these freaking Lions players right out of the gate. I think that's enough action for me. Maybe we can get a Amon St. Brown, Ross St. Brown. I screwed it up. St. Brown touchdown or 2. But outside of that, I want nothing to do with this game.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, let's just call it what it is. There's so much unknown as it is in week 1, but now you throw in the best tight end in the game and one of the favorite targets of Patrick Mahomes, where we don't know if he's going. And even if he does go, he's not going to be 100% and may be used as a decoy. So the only way I would look, forget the side for me, I'm going to agree with Marco on his final score, and I'm going to bet the under. It's the only way I would look here, because it is Patrick Mahomes, because we have 2 teams that are known for offense, right? Automatically, I think this number was a little bit too high to begin with. We've seen it start to come down, 54, 53.5, somewhere in that ballpark. Now we're starting to see some 53s, and I agree with the move. I think we're going to get much more ground game. I think we're going to get a little bit more ball control. I don't expect either of these 2 teams to just be trying to air it out. I know Detroit went ahead and revamped its entire secondary, which was hot ass last year, and they're trying to do everything they can to limit the big plays down the field. So I think they will be better. And I do think that expecting this thing to go over that key number of 52 is a lot. So I think I'm going to take the 53.5 if you can still get it. But I think this is continuing. It's going to continue to drop the closer we get to game time, especially the official announcement on what's going to happen with Kelce.
Yeah, Joe, I hate to break it to you. The Wager Talk odds screen, there is only 153 left. So if you snooze, you lose there again.
Lose.
Two. All right, we're going to move along, kick it right back to Joe for Sunday Night Football. Dallas at the New York Giants, and there's going to be a lot of talk about divisional underdogs for week one. This one opened 2.5, total 47. Now 3.5 at a couple of shops, 3 minus 120 for Dallas at a few others. Joe Raineri, I gave out the Giants on Wager Talk today. I think that they might be a little scrappier. This may be a 3-point game. What say you?
So I was kind of back and forth on this one as well, but I do believe there is somebody on this panel that's that may not like you and I being in agreement here, Cal, because I am. And historically, it's been a pretty darn good spot to back a divisional home underdog in week one. It's actually 7-0 since 2018, Cal. 15-2 since 2012 and 21-5 since 2009. So historically, this has been the spot that you back the Giants here. I do not trust the Cowboys in any way, shape, or form. Coaching matters. I think Dable will certainly have the Giants ready to go in here. I think nobody wants to give the Giants any credit. Everyone seems to think that the Cowboys are going to be the ones competing against Philadelphia, and then there'll be the Giants in Washington. I'm not so convinced of that. So if I was going to play this game, I think taking the hook while it's available, the 3.5, go ahead and do it. History tells us this is a good spot to back that home divisional underdog. So I'll go ahead and do it and agree with you, Cal.
All right, Marco D'Angelo. We have three of us in agreement here, or you laying the road chalk?
I'm going to lay the road chalk, and surprise, surprise, Kelly had a primetime home dog. Who would have thunk it, you know?
What do you want from me?
One thing I want to say about these TV games, you know, all season long, we're going to give you our opinion on the Thursday, the Sunday night, and the Monday night game because they're on and we know you're going to watch them and we know you've got to put some money down on them. We're going to tell you when we're doing it, if we're really strong on it or we're not. Just want to tell you that because these are plays that we are forced to make. The other plays we do on this show, we get to choose what we like. So those are much stronger. But sometimes we will have a strong opinion. This isn't one of them because, you know, as Joe said, he doesn't trust the Cowboys laying points on the road. I don't trust Daniel Jones. That's my problem with this one. Again, you know, this is another one of those ACC quarterbacks that everybody loves in the NFL, and I just haven't seen it. I'm not sold on him. Yes, last year, great season for the Giants, but it was a first-year coach, and we didn't know what to expect from them. Now you've got a year of game film. So teams are going to be able to prepare a little bit differently for the Giants. The Cowboys, yeah, it's the same old story. High expectations. They're going to be the ones to challenge Philadelphia this year. But as when we did the preview show, I've told you, it's been 18 straight years. The same team hasn't repeated as the division winner in the NFC East. So that would mean that it's not going to be Philly. Who's it going to be? Dallas, the Giants, Washington? I think, it's going to be one of these two in this game. And this game might have a big saying of which one that is going to be. But for this one, I lean to Dallas. I think they've got more offensive weapons. And like Dak or not, I still think he's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. So give me a weak vote for this one. I'm on the Cowboys. I've got them winning 27-20.
Marco wants to trash me, but of course I'm not laying points week one when you have divisional underdogs. 64-44-2 against the spread, and maybe Ralph Michaels will have a little bit more to back me up. I'm not afraid to say it. I am taking the Giants, and I gave out on Wager Talk today, plus 3.5. Make sure you get the hook. There's your little asterisk. All right, Monday Night Football in a great teaser spot, and that's exactly what I did with this one. We mentioned we weren't high on the Jets. I am not. Boy, getting them over a touchdown at home is juicy. Currently 2.5 on the Wager Talk odds screen, 46.5. Marco.
Ooh.
Home dog bark. And this one I'll be with you, Kelly. And I know, I've talked about there's been too much hype for the Jets and everything. And, there has been. Aaron Rodgers is the savior. That's the missing link. This team has a great defense. They just had no quarterback play. Now they're going to get that. Well, in theory, that's all correct. And if you look at the way they played the Buffalo Bills last year, both games were tight, and they held Buffalo to 17 points and 20 points. If they do that again, they win this game. Teaser? Absolutely, Kelly. I'm going to have a lot of teasers open to Monday night with the Jets. Right now it's 2.5. You use that 6-point teaser, you can get them up to 8.5. And if this thing crashes on game day, I know you don't like to do it that often, Kelly, but I've told you many times to do it and not have all that money out there on the Monday night game. But you'll be able to come back and do a little money line with Buffalo, trying to find a pretty fat middle on Monday night. So that's a possibility as well. But I do think Aaron Rodgers, Monday Night Football, national TV audience, all the drama from leaving Green Bay and coming to New York to be the savior, this is his stage. I'll tell you right now, I'll be rooting for the Jets because I want to go against them in week 2. I want them to win on Monday Night Football. I want them to look sensational. And I want them to look as good as Colorado did against TCU last week. So everybody just gets me a good line the following week. I'll be there. But for me, I do like the Jets plus the 2.5, and I love the Jets plus 8.5 in a teaser. Those are my Monday night selections for you.
See, Marco, that's where we vary. I don't want the Jets to win this game. I want them to lose 21-20. Not only does the game land 1, so I can just trash John Murray, but I have under 9.5 wins. Hello. Joe Raineri, obviously, as we both said, the Jets are a perfect teaser spot, maybe with the Browns, maybe with Marco's Steelers. Any other opinion on this game?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with both. I mean, listen, as the lifelong Jet fan on the panel here, guys, I agree from the standpoint of I have very little faith in the Jets. Now, I think there's going to be great opportunity for them this year. I think it's either going to work out wonderfully, they're going to win 12 games, it's Aaron Rodgers for president, or it's going to be the biggest dumpster fire we have seen in a very long time, and that's saying something. But any which way you cut it, I've got two teams that a year ago were both of them were top 4 when it came to defense and points allowed in the NFL. I mean, you wouldn't know it with a total of what? 46.5? You would think like, wow, maybe there are some issues on this defense. No. These two defenses, especially the secondary for Buffalo, healthy now. Poyer is back. Micah Hyde is back. I don't think the Jets are going to hit their stride until maybe game 4 or 5. I think they still have some things to work out offensively. I think they got to get the running backs going. But either way, I was at this game in Buffalo last year, and the weather wasn't great. But defensively, both the Jets and the Buffalo Bills went at one another. I don't see how that changes in game 1 on Monday night. I think this is a defensive battle. I don't think we even sniff 46 points, 47 points in this one. So while I hope Marco is right in some capacity, I'm on the under in this matchup.
I love it. 21-20 coming right up.
Boom.
You love to see it. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Bet On It. Now it's the time for the man with the pin and, of course, all the nerd charts. Ralph, tell everybody what they can get on your homepage on wagertalk.com.
Kelly, you got people all excited for a nerd chart, and I actually don't have a nerd chart for week 1. You guys have asked for it. We decided to do it. There's a lot of data we go over in the TNA segment in college football and the NFL. Well, every Wednesday, head to my homepage at Wager Talk. The shortcut is wt.buzz/RM. I will have a PDF with every TNA situation, the ATS records and percentages, and the teams it applies to. So our way of saying thank you to all you Bet On It viewers.
All right, even though there's no nerd chart, I felt like wearing the glasses anyway. But Ralph is correct. If you guys could see how frantic I am trying to write down, scratching out live on the show to get TNA, I am very happy to have some of those PDFs. But Ralph, let's get into NFL Week 1. I think this is kind of where you've got some digging to do, right? A lot of people like to look at how teams did last year. Maybe they overreact to some of the things that happened in the offseason, maybe an injury or a new coaching change. Break down with what we're going to get on your new PDF on your homepage in terms of Week 1 TNA.
It's not complicated Week 1. You analyze the teams and you decide if you think a team is stronger or not. But this first one shocks me, Kelly. When we're talking about a 59% system in the NFL that has worked since 2006 with over 112 games of sample size, it's a perfect thing to look at. And why not to overreact? If in game 1 of the season, as simple as this, you play on a team that did not make the playoffs against an opponent that made the playoffs, you have covered 58.9% against the spread since 2006. That's simple. People overreact to playoff teams, underreact to teams that did not make the playoffs. It applies to Detroit, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Houston, the Rams, and the Jets. A huge slew of games. If those teams are an away dog of 3 points or higher in that same subset we just talked about, they have gone 66% against the spread since 2006. That's play on Detroit, Houston, and the LA Rams. So non-playoff versus playoff, 59%. If the non-playoff team is an away dog of 3 or more, that number has gone up to 66%. System number 2, or situation number 2. I wanted to look at Week 1s and do games tend to go over or under. That's it. I didn't look at what the teams did. I didn't look at what their offensive ratings did. And I looked at the numbers and I made it divide at 47 points because there was a clear division. In game 1 since 2013, if you bet the under in every total that is 46.5 points and lower, you have won 59.8% of the time. So almost 60% of every game 1 total that's 46.5 and lower has gone under the total. When we look at totals 47 points and higher, they have gone over the total 55.6%. So exactly what you would expect if you break it down. Lower totals have gone under the total 59.8%. Higher totals have gone over the total 55.6%, and both of those since 2013. Double revenge situation is much more prominent when you have NFL division foes, because double revenge means you lost both games last year when you're looking at game 1 of the season. So if you have a division foe in game 1 of the season in their season opener that has double revenge, those teams have gone 46-23, 66.7% since 2002. Those double revenge opponents in game 1, Chicago, Denver, the Rams, and the New York Giants. And final one, Kelly, I've tweeted this for years. We talked it about last year. Game 1, season opener, division dogs, period. It doesn't get more easy than that. Division dogs in the last 7 years, 72.1%. Division away dogs like Carolina, Green Bay, Las Vegas, and the Rams have gone 65.5%. But division home dogs have gone 15-2, Kelly, 88.2%. Week 1 division home dogs, Cleveland, Indianapolis, the Giants, and the Jets. And in that 15-2 record, one of those teams was actually a 1-point dog that was picked. So you could actually say 15-1 for those week 1 NFL home dogs if they're a dog of 2 or more. So again, we're not blindly saying play any of these suggestions, but make sure you have these numbers and these ATS records in your thought process when you're handicapping NFL week number 1 games.
Ralph, that warms my little doggy loving heart. I did play on a couple of those dogs, and then I'm such a wuss, I teased a couple more. We'll get into that in the rest of Bet On It. We're going to pivot from some TNA to some prop bets. Let's bring in Andy Lang at Bump Sports on Twitter. Andy, I know it's Wednesday, and not every single book has prop bets up, but my best bet involves the Jaguars and the Colts. So I have asked you for 18 weeks to bring me a prop bet for my favorite football game.
Yeah, let's go with Travis Etienne, and I'll take over 14.5 receiving yards. The books seem to be a little light on this one. I expected this total to be near 20. Last year, Etienne had 33 yards and 22 yards receiving against the Colts. And both those games, James Robinson played. He's not there anymore. Etienne's competition now for touches is Tank Bigsby. I don't think Etienne is going to be coming off the field nearly as much as when Robinson was there. And Kelly, the Colts pass defense is going to be really bad this year. The only good part of the Colts defense is the interior line with DeForest Buckner. The pass defense lost Stephon Gilmore and Duke Shelley. They replaced him with rookies. Shaq Leonard is already hurt. Jacksonville's just going to be able to move the ball. They added Calvin Ridley, and ETN can get over this total with one catch. He had 8 catches of 14 or more yards. I think the books left this line a little bit too low, so I look for ETN to get over this total pretty easily.
I hope you're very wrong. On that note, let's pivot to Thursday Night Football. We know Travis Kelce is still TBD, but you have a Lions prop at Kansas City.
Yeah, let's grab this Lions team over 10.5 first half team total. The big thing here is Chris Jones not being there for the Chiefs. Without him, they could really, really struggle. He covered up a lot of holes in that defense. You mentioned Travis Kelce is banged up. Chiefs have a different wide receiving core this year, so their offense could be a little clunky. They may not have long, sustained drives, and the Lions have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. I expect Goff to have plenty of time to throw. Montgomery and Gibbs should be able to run the ball. The Lions have told us they're going to use Gibbs in some really creative ways, so I would expect them to catch the Chiefs a little bit off guard. And the Lions averaged 13.6 points in the first half last year. That was 8th best in the NFL. And last year, even with Chris Jones, the Chiefs allowed 11.5 points per game. Give me the Lions get off to a good start. I'll take over 10.5 points in the first half.
Yay, finally some good news for my fantasy team since my partners decided to draft the entire Lions roster. Let's pivot to your best bet. Oh boy, I don't like this one either. Andy, you're going to make me have to sweat on Sunday. Sunday night, we have the Dallas Cowboys headed to New York.
How about them Cowboys? Give me Dak Prescott over 14.5 yards rushing. Listen, he missed a lot of time last year, but when he came back towards the end of the season, he started running the ball a lot more. He finished the regular season rushing for 23, 20, 41, 11, and 16 yards. And then in the playoffs, 24 and 22 yards. He rushed for 3 or more times in the last 7 games to end the season. The Giants were 10th worst last year, giving up rushing yards to quarterbacks. And Ezekiel Elliott rushed the ball 231 times last year. He's not there anymore. They're going to have to figure out where those carries and those touches are going to come from. I expect Dak to be a little bit more involved in the running game this year. Love this 14.5 yard total. Give me the over.
Andy understood the assignment. Rapid fire picks. Hopefully a 3-0 for him, and hopefully those don't affect my bets too much. At Bump Sports, you can give him a follow. Coming up next, we got Are You High? Maybe a trap game because I don't think the deli's open week 1. Of course, we got some barking dogs. We got Las Vegas Chris joining us VR. Keep hanging out with us here. Smash that like button. Drop a comment. Please also subscribe to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. We love you guys. Even if you guys hate us, tell us in the comment section, especially Marco D'Angelo. Speaking of Marco, trap game of the week, buddy. What do we got?
Wow. 2 shows, I got 2 buddies. Somebody, Kelly, trap game this week is Green Bay at Chicago. And I'll tell you what, here's the narrative. First of all, I don't understand all of the love for Justin Fields. What has he done to warrant all of this love? Now, I understand all of the hate for Green Bay because the savior, everything Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. He now resides in New York. So I get that. Everybody is automatically expecting the Green Bay Packers to fall off the face of the earth. But you know what? They have absolutely owned the Chicago Bears. ask Aaron Rodgers about that, and I think he believes he owned the Bears. But the fact remains, this is a team that has beaten Chicago 8 straight times, 13 of the last 14. And now if there was ever going to be a time for Chicago to turn the tables, wouldn't it be this year? Well, I just can't buy them as a favorite. This is basically a pick the winner. You got Green Bay on the road without Aaron Rodgers. The Jordan Love era begins. We didn't see a lot of Jordan Love in the preseason, and what we did see, they kept everything pretty vanilla. I think he's going to be okay. Is he going to be Aaron Rodgers? No, but he's not going to be horrible. This team still has a lot of talent. And you know what? I actually think the locker room is going to be a little bit better. That scene in Green Bay was wearing time had come for Aaron to move on. Every year the drama, is he coming in? Is he retiring? I want traded, whatever. That takes its toll on a team. I think they've got something to prove this year, and I like the Packers week 1. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to fall for the Chicago Bears trap. I'm going to go ahead and take Green Bay. They come away with the win. I'm calling it Green Bay 23-17.
Yeah, this one opened over the summer at Superbook Sports, -3.5 in favor of the Bears. Now down to -1, pretty much across the screen on the Wager Talk odds screen. I did tease it. I know it's a little late to tout myself there, but when it hit 2.5, I said, okay, I'll just throw the Packers in a little teasy tease just because, just easy. I don't need to get eviscerated by an NFL kicker or some kid named Jordan Love. Give me over a touchdown in a divisional game. Joe Raineri, I could really use some of that you're smoking right about now. We've got about 4 more hours of recording, you and I, this evening. But are you high? How high are you? What's the name of the segment again?
It's Are You High? And the answer pretty much safely is always yes. But we are talking about a game here this week, and I'm going to look at Seattle and the Rams. And the question is 46.5, is it too high? And the answer is absolutely it is. I don't understand this line here. I do think, and it is starting to come down a little bit here, Cal, and I agree with it. Listen, Cooper Kupp looks like he has another setback with the hammy here, so the single greatest weapon that the Rams might have not going to be available to them. I love what Seattle did in the draft, both offensively, but getting Witherspoon defensively. Wagner is back. I like Seattle's problem last year was they were terrible defensively. They addressed that in both fronts. I think they're going to be very good defensively. Don't forget, we saw this, I think, week 18, and what we get, a total of 35 points. Now, there are some people that are doubting Geno Smith. Maybe he takes a step back a little bit this year. Well, they certainly got him more weapons in the draft. So I like Seattle, but not enough to be able to lay it. I do think, though, the Rams are going to have a tough time scoring in this game. I think 46.5 in this game is way too high. So I'm on the under in this one here out west.
Yeah, we're going to throw our producer Dan for a loop here just for fun because we're sticking with that game. Our barking dog segment. Marco, Los Angeles Rams are barking in Seattle.
They are, Kelly, and you look at this one, and I'm looking at it. Can Geno Smith find lightning in a bottle 2 years in a row? Okay, that's where I'm at. I'm sorry. Geno Smith had a year of his career last year for Seattle, and you know what? There really was no pressure on him because nobody expected him to do anything. Last year was supposed to be a rebuild, a throwaway season. Russell Wilson was now a Bronco, and the defense was bad. How was the offense going to score? They were supposed to be a train wreck, and instead, they were a pretty exciting team last year. Now it's year 2. Now he got paid. How many times have you seen this where, a player comes out of nowhere, has the monster year, they back the truck up, he gets paid, and then he falls off the face of the earth? And that's my concern with Geno Smith because last year, as I said, no pressure. Now there's expectations. You did it last year. You should be even better this year, and you got paid. with that run last year, now they come in, and given what else is in this division, you got the 49ers, who are the favorite, but you got question marks at quarterback. And then you've got the other two teams, the Rams, who are here with all of their question marks. And I won't even bring up Arizona. There is no question marks there. It's just what the hell's going on out there. This is a spot where Seattle has a legitimate chance to make a run at the division. I'm not buying it. Pete Carroll, throughout his days at Seattle, has been a coach that plays, his motto is keep the game close, get us to the fourth quarter, we have a chance to win the game. Well, that's fine and dandy when you're getting points. That is not something I want to do when you're laying 5.5 points. The Rams, yeah, they're not going to be a good team this year. But coming out of the gate in the way they have dominated the Seattle team over the years, and last year they did lose both games to Seattle. But I want to point out that the two games were a 4-point game and a 3-point game. Both of those games came late in the season when both Stafford and Cooper Kupp were shut down for the season. They were out of the race and meant nothing, and they still were able to keep it close against Seattle. I'm looking for this one. Divisional dog, opening week. And Kelly, you've been talking about that a lot, and there I am. I've got one. It's not a pretty one, but I got one. I'm taking the Rams plus the points. This one comes down to a field goal. And Joe will like my final score because I got it Rams 23-20.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I like when we're all in agreement. Marco, I will be joining you in all of my contest selections with the Rams. I don't think I have the guts to actually bet my hard-earned money on them. In fact, I shouldn't be betting my hard-earned money on very many NFL games. You guys want to believe it or not, I'm only putting actual hard dollars on one bet a week. Best bets, which we'll get to at the end of the show. Joe Raineri, of all these divisional dogs, you picked the Titans? They're not even what? We have a laundry list of divisional underdogs, and somehow you come to me with a +3 on the Titans. Riddle me that, Batman.
Yes. Well, listen, it was 3.5. You would have bet it a little bit earlier, but now it's 3. And buckle up here, people. I cannot get over how undervalued the Titans are here. I'm not quite sure what people are anticipating with this Tennessee Titans team. Let me just say this. Last year, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, dealt with more injuries, not only offensively, but on the defensive side of the football than the Tennessee Titans. Well, guess what? Ryan Tannehill back. He is the healthiest that he has been in quite a long time. They ended up, what was the name of that guy? D-Hop decided that, you know what? Instead of going to New England or pretty much any place else he wanted, he decides to go to Tennessee because he likes what he's seeing. I love the defense in here. I love that they're healthy again. I love the simple fact that we've got Tannehill, we've got a running game, we've got weapons on the outside, and we've got a undervalued spot here with the Tennessee Titans. Not just in this game, by the way, on the season. When you flip it over, all right, you got an aging Saints team here, guys. I mean, Derek Carr, his efficiency has gotten worse every year over the last 5 years. This is not a guy that I want to go be laying money on and expecting great things, especially, hell, I didn't even know Jimmy Graham was still in the NFL. I thought he retired 5 years ago. How in the hell do you think this is a team worth betting on? Honestly, I mean, Jimmy Graham, Michael Thomas, who he'll probably get hurt before the game even starts here. I am not buying the Saints. I think they are a disaster waiting to happen. And I think you have an opportunity to hop on a very undervalued team, getting points, and you should do it now. The Tennessee Titans +3 for me. I think they roll here.
Wow. Grandma is going to be really mad at you, Joe. She was a big Joe Raineri fan. She watches the show every single week. And to know her Saints might possibly lose week number 1, I'm probably going to not go to her house and watch this one. Thank you for that. I too am a little higher on the Tennessee Titans than most, but to go on the road and win this game, we'll see. Maybe it's also that I'm a little low on the Jaguars, but we'll get to that in the best bet segment. Coming up next, we got Las Vegas Chris, the man, the myth, and the legend. We're going to do something different for you guys. We're going to keep going with those barking dogs round robin style. Little backstory about this segment. I was speaking to a good friend, Chris, at where were we? We were at a Circa event, and he said, Kel, why do you parlay, do a 3-team parlay on your underdogs? You should be round robining. And I said, you know what? That's what we're doing for Bet On It. You just signed yourself up for it. So Chris and I are going to be here each and every week talking about our favorite underdogs in the NFL. Chris, kind of walk everybody through the process of what to expect for the season.
You know, the dirty little secret here, Kelly, is we're not supposed to parlay, but we all do it behind closed doors, don't we? So if you're going to parlay, which you shouldn't be, we know you're going to be doing it. So let's try to do it in a more productive manner and open up some doors of consideration for people, because a lot of people have heard the term round robin, but don't even know what a round robin is. What I personally like to do, and it really comes through especially on weeks 1 and 2 for NFL, is I like to find 5 teams that I like on the money line, and I want to parlay them all together. But I don't want to do 5-team and 4-team parlays. What I want to do is spread out the risk, Kelly. Chasing these long shots, and the only way you can win is by winning all 4 or all 5. You're fighting a losing battle on that. But if you split them up and you take your 5 teams and you round robin them, you're parlaying every single combination of those teams with each other. And there are 26 combinations. So $100 better, if you want to invest $100 in parlays with 5 teams, you're talking about $3.84 a parlay. It doesn't sound like a lot, and obviously you can scale it up or lower any way you want, but it's much more powerful than you think, because oftentimes you could potentially even make money or break even if 2 of those teams come in. And once you hit a 3 out of 5, you can get up into that profit sector. And when you start to hit 4, and you've got that 5th team yet to be played later on, you've got hedging possibilities, and you're already up a fair amount. It's kind of exciting, because you can get to that point and you start figuring out all these little variations and plausibilities and what am I going to do, and that type of stuff. This week in particular, we don't know anything. We think we know everything, but there's a lot more variance happening this week and next week. So a team like Minnesota or Washington or some of these other favorites that would normally be lined at the current levels, they'd be more dependable during the regular season. But we don't know. We don't know what's going on. So the money lines actually have more power to them and a little bit more value. So that's why I like to use the money line aspects, especially weeks 1 and 2. Specifically this week, you have, everybody already knows this, the home underdogs week 1. There's a handful of those teams, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, New England, the Jets, and the Giants. Any combination of those 5 teams over recent history is 60% plus. So you already have the history on your side that you're going to probably hit at least 3 out of those 5 if you pick the right ones. And you could get lucky and hit more, and the paydays are more than you think they are, even just hitting 4 out of 5.
I think that's great. So you think for this first week and possibly next week, we want to keep it simple, bet the trends, right? So we know 64, 44, and 2 divisional dogs for week 1 historically have been printing money. I wish I had a money line. Now, obviously, those are against the spread. I wish I had a money line for those, how they perform straight up. So you think doing a 5 teams, but in 2-team sections, correct?
No, you'd be round robining by, there are 10 combinations of 2, 10 combinations of 3, 5 combinations of 4, and 1 combination of 5.
So okay, so you think we should be doing it the whole way through. So not just 2-team round robins. Got it. All right, guys, 5.
By 2, by 3, by 4, and by 5. And I'm not recommending this. This is I'm contributing to the delinquency of what everybody does. But let's make you lose at a lower rate, but you can still have really nice paydays, even though you're not shooting that same $100 per se on one one 5-team parlay. You can have a hell of a lot more fun than you realize just bringing in 3 or 4 of these. This particular week, the dogs have been kind of bet down. So it would have been better to have had, a few of these other teams like Green Bay you could have had, with a better price. Pittsburgh had a better price. Cleveland had a better price. So a couple of these have come down a little bit throughout the week, and it would have been nicer. But in situations where you like 3-point underdogs, just throw chump change. I'm talking about chump change. It should not be any part of your portfolio.
So
it's like going to the movies and spending money on popcorn.
Yeah, well, or going out to lunch. It costs $100 to go to lunch these days. You're giving yourself some free entertainment. I did say that I was going to only bet my best bets this year in the NFL, but I may have lied. I might have to do some of these 5-team round robins. Las Vegas Chris, everyone, great guy. Just trying to give us some extra fun here on Sundays, Mondays, just get us through those weekends. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us. Up next, you guys asked for it, and we are delivering. We are back with some gold/steam from my guy, VR Ace, the Greek gambler. Here he is live in the flesh to give you guys all of that information.
Thank you again for having me, and thank you for all the support out there. NFL Week 1. We got to get one thing out of the way first. These lines have been up for months. A lot of the value's been extracted, meaning the later it gets, more of the information is factored into the betting line, the lower the edge you're going to get. You need to know that going in. I know everyone's excited. I know it's week 1. We're chomping at the bits to get some action in, but there's a difference between gambling and a little bit of entertainment and actually betting for profit. If you're betting for profit, I recommend being extremely selective in week 1 and instead waiting for week 2, 3, 4, 5 as the data comes in, as you have some overreactions. And with that said, I want to pass around some actionable information. I know people love the tease. So every week I'm going to try to share some kind of info that you could take and learn from. I explained already the math behind the teaser. If you need an explanation, I'm sure there's a video on that. If not, Kelly will remind me. I'll break it down again maybe next week. But here's something I learned over the last couple of years that I have not shared until today. Here's the thing about teasers that gave me the most success over the last 3 seasons. When I went back and checked through all my work, the teasers that did the best for me were the teasers I bet the latest. When I bet my teasers against the closing number is when I did the most damage. And that makes sense. Here's why. Because when you're betting teasers, you want the line to be efficient. You don't want an inefficient line. Remember, the average NFL game ends 10.2 points off the spread. So even though we're amazed when the game falls near the spread, on average, the game ends 10 points greater or below what the point spread is. That's why you get 6, 6.5, and 7-point teasers, and that's why they're unbeatable unless you tease through key numbers. And that's why you should wait until as close to game day as possible. You're going to miss some numbers because of the teaser protection, but those you could maybe once in a while get out ahead of if you see something really juicy. But you want an efficient number. You want all the information factored into the line. You're hoping that in those games that the game lands closer to the number, that the market's efficient, unlike the opposite of what we do when we bet sides and totals. We win because the market's inefficient, because we're able to get plus 3.5 when the number should be 2. And that's how you beat them. But when it comes to teasers, you want the opposite. You want the sports books to be right. You want that betting line to be as close to true implied odds as it actually is in reality. That's how you'll cash that teaser. With that said, there's only 2 games that I'm already on so far this week for my subscribers. And that was, we bet the Patriots over the Eagles very early. Listen, Patriots only won 2 of their last 7 games last year towards the end. Everyone's been down on them. Eagles coming off that Super Bowl, a little overvalued week 1. It's expected. The lines moved in our direction. I gave it out at +5 in the summer almost, and it's now down. So the market's moved our way. As long as you get more than a field goal, I think you're good there. No, it was just New England. Sorry, just New England so far in week one. Here's the rest of the steam, though, that I've moved for other groups. Like I said, I'm as selective as they come. I know you know me as high volume ace, but we've changed it around to try to increase the return on investment and lower the downsides when you're having that negative swings. Real quickly, let's do this. The Browns plus 2.5. No surprise. They've been owning Cincinnati. I think they've won 8 of the last 10. And this one was bet earlier. As soon as, the Burrow situation, he wasn't 100%, you knew there was going to be some sharp fade against Cincinnati. That's what you're looking at here. But obviously he's playing. But I still think the Browns should be okay at home. The Steelers plus 3, again, over the 49ers. Here's the problem. Now you're looking at nothing but 2.5s across the screen. And there's no more key of a number than 3. So if you like the Steelers, you may want to wait a little bit and see if that number comes back up, or decide maybe go money line on it. Because again, points matter, especially when it comes to the NFL. Packers were bet plus the points and on the money line. Not surprising. Everyone's so down on the Packers. You expect the overreaction. Aaron Rodgers gone, blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't surprised to see Sharp ask for me to bet Green Bay. They also had me bet the Raiders and the under. Raiders plus 4.5, 5. Under 44.5, 45, I believe. Again, Patriots I already gave you. And the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. Obviously, they've owned the New York Giants 9-1 over the last 10, 7-3 against the spread, even. So you got the Browns, the Steelers, the Packers, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Cowboys as sides, and the totals over in Texans and the Ravens at 43, 43.5, and then under in the 49ers, Steelers, 42, 41.5, and under, like I said, in the Raiders, Broncos, 44. Remember, these guys got out ahead of the market. It's a long season. Be selective. Take your time. Only bet from positions of strength, not from positions of weakness, and you'll do very well long term. Remember, it's a big war with a bunch of battles in between. Have a good week one. Thank you so much for having me on, Kel.
His name is VR at Greek_Gambler on Twitter, and we always appreciate his insight here on Bet On It. As we start to wrap up the show, remember, guys, jump in the comment section, give us a little like, and you guys are going to give me a lot of hate because it's the best bet segment in every single week. Yeah, I'm probably fading the public. Yeah, I'm going to have the grossest pick. It's just who I am. I'm a contrarian by nature. What do you want from me? Indianapolis. God, this one's going to be disgusting. Currently plus 5 on the Wager Talk odds screen. And I think this is just a few too many points for Anthony Richardson, new head coach Shane Steichen, and, of course, that elusive week 1 record that belongs to neither one of these guys. But you're going to see it all over Twitter this week. Everybody's going to use it as their narrative. Not I. Divisional underdogs, 64, 44, and 2 against the spread. I got to take this one here. I know the Jags, they made the playoffs last year. They made me a ton of money. Somehow coming back from a 24-0 deficit. Well, how'd they get in that deficit? Well, their defense. And their defense is going to be their Achilles heel once again this year. But you know whose defense isn't? Hopefully the Colts. I make this game a 24-21. Colts plus 5. Yeah, you're going to look for me to say put a little sprinkle. Okay, just a little baby sprinkle on the plus 180, guys. Don't go too crazy. AR-15, I got the pleasure of watching last year at the University of Florida, and it's kind of Jameis Winston-esque. What are you going to get from her? Are you going to get a touchdown pass? Are you going to get a pick 6? One will never know. No, Jonathan Taylor is already built into this line, but I do expect the Colts to somehow cover this very ugly plus 5 line. 5, no longer a dead number, is it, Marco D'Angelo? Give me your best bet for NFL week number 1.
All right, Kelly, before I get to the best bet, quick reminder, guys, we've got a special going at Wager Talk site-wide. Get any capper, 3 weeks, college and pro football, all plays 3 weeks, $147, lowest price we've offered on a 3-week package. Great way to kick off the season. And speaking of kicking off the season, we started with a college winner last week with the best bet. Let's do it with the NFL as well. And I'm going to look to Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to lay the 10 points in this one. Guys, since 2017, listen to these scores. Opening week, Baltimore wins 20-0. 47-3, 59-10, 38-6, and 24-9. One time did they lose opening week. That was in 2021. They were on the road on a Monday night in Las Vegas. I was at that game. That was the first game at Allegiant Stadium where they allowed fans coming out of the pandemic. It was an electric atmosphere. It was a game that got tied late, went to overtime, and the Raiders pulled the game out. You take that out, this team has been absolutely smashing opponents in week one. Should that be a surprise? It should not be. Why? Because Baltimore plays preseason games like their regular season games. They come to play, they play at full speed. What that does compared to the other teams is they're ready when week one comes. Too often you see a lot of sloppy play in week one. Missed tackles, turnovers, penalties. Why? Because teams go at half speed in preseason, and then you just can't turn a switch on and go at game speed. Baltimore does. Now throw in C.J. Stroud's going to be starting for Houston. How are they going to score any points? You're throwing him to the wolves. You got a well-oiled machine with Baltimore going against a rookie quarterback. And speaking of Baltimore, they paid the man. Lamar Jackson got his money. Not only did they back up the Brinks truck for him, they went out and bought him a bunch of toys to play with this season. This is the most explosive offense that he's had to work with, and they are going to use all of it. Look for them to get out to an early lead and continue to dominate. This is one of those teams that can also run the football well, and that's great when you're protecting a backdoor prevention of a backdoor cover. But that would mean Houston would have to score some points to come through the back door. That's not happening. Take Baltimore, lay it with them. I've got them winning 31-10. That's my best bet for week number one.
Ooh, Marco D'Angelo with my Super Bowl winner. You can still get them 18-1 at our good friends at Superbook Sports. Joe Raineri. I also think they're going to be a very popular Survivor pick this week. And I've only got 9 entries or something completely and utterly insane. And everybody wants to use the Washington football team. Oh, God. Anyway, wait, they're called the Command. What are they now? Okay, anyway, Commanders. Joe Raineri. Thank you. Thank you, Marco. Yes. Best bet, Joe Raineri.
We'll forget it next week anyway, because they are pretty forgettable. All right, let's go with a best bet, Alan. I am going to look to the nation's capital, Foxborough. No, I'm kidding. We're going to go to Foxborough, and I am going to take on, well, it is, yes, Patriot fans, it is the nation's capital there. The Patriots, +4, and boy, is that dropping. A lot of 3.5s, I believe. Is what we're starting to see show up as well. Why? I think it is a great buy low spot here on the Patriots and a sell high spot on the Philadelphia Eagles, who have lost not one, but both of their coordinators from a year ago. And yes, on paper, they look tremendous, but they're also a little bit young on that defense. And we also have extended time for one Bill Belichick to be able to game plan for this young defense there in Philadelphia. The defense of New England, no slouch. I will say this too. Everything that I have read and everything I have listened to from people who cover the Patriots, there's a level of excitement in the offensive room there with Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones and company that we have not seen in a long time since good old the GOAT was there. So there is a level of excitement. Obviously, Matt Patricia no longer calling plays. Bill O'Brien, they got rid of Bailey Zappi. Now he's on the practice squad. It's Mac Jones' team. Bill O'Brien has got these guys ready to go. But more importantly, Bill Belichick will have his team at home in a spot here to do the unthinkable. And that is, may very well upend the Philadelphia Eagles. I am sorry, Dan, but you give me 4 points. I am taking them all day. I'm buying low on the Patriots, and I am selling high on the Eagles in week one.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that one there, Joe. Maybe a 21... 17's a push. I can't have the Patriots win that game, okay? I have a bet versus CT bets, and it's getting personal now. All right, well, that is the end of the show. We're gonna have our lovely Eagles fan producer, Dan Newby, put up the recap graphic. And no, I'm not gonna read it, but make sure you guys smash that like button, drop a comment, make sure you're subscribed to the Wager Talk YouTube channel, and if you're looking for any more NFL or college football content, please click the video on your screen. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show as much as we did doing it, from Joe, Marco, Ralph, Andy, Chris, VR, and producer Dan, and myself, of course. Good luck. Until next week, let's bet on it.